Welcome back peeps, I'm Zen and welcome to Figma video number 10, where we will be making the contact me page from our base page. It will look like this. You can see we're using the same sort of postcard style feeling that we had before. So without further ado, let's get into it. As usual, we're in Figma and we've got our base page here. We're going to first duplicate it and then we're going to rename the duplicate to contact. And then we're going to open it. So as we did before, we've now got this title already for us. So all we need to do is just double click on it and then change it to contact me. Now again, one of the requirements for the Unit 13 web design unit is that you need to have forms. It's not exactly exact how many forms you need, but we are guessing it needs forms. It's plural, so it's more than one. So for this site, what we're going to do is have a contact me page, okay, with a contact form on it. And then we're also going to create a page which isn't on any of these links here, which is a login form for the admin. Okay, now, like I said, it's not going to be included in the navigation, and we're not going to do that in this particular video, but that's how we're going to make sure we've got two forms to match that criteria. Now, on your contact me page, you should basically have all the different ways that you are happy for your visitors to contact you. And what we're going to do first is just have a little bit of text like we always do, you know, explaining the page and, you know, some information on it. And then we're going to create a contact form which is based on that postcard idea that we made in the welcoming page. And then we're going to have a whole bunch of social media links down this right hand side. So if they don't want to use a form or the email address that you give them, they could use one of the social media links that you are supplying. So let us just add that text. So as usual, text box. And what we should do is, of course, actually before we do the text box, is to add the rectangle, which allows the text to be more visible. And we're just going to put this in for the moment. We're going to obviously resize it once we've got the information in there. Obviously we're going to change that fill to that semi-transparent color that we made in one of the first videos. And to save some time, I'm just going to copy my text over. So text box, and as usual we're going to keep it just on the inside of there so we get that little sort of padding idea, and Control V. And we can see here that the text is center aligned, and we also want it left aligned. It's not the right font. It should be courgette. And we can just start typing in the word and it should pick it up as soon as it can. There we go. And size wise, let's go for 24. Yeah, font size 24 looks about right. Okay, so, you know, as you can see here, there are many ways you can contact me. The best and easiest way is to use the contact form below, which we'll make. Alternatively, you can email me directly at the fake@email.com. Obviously, put in your actual email address, or use any of my social media links down the side, which are the ones we'll have here. And again, don't forget, we can always preview this just to see what it looks like. And this is it in full screen. Now I'm doing this now in a 4K screen, which is why it looks a bit smaller. We can of course always use our browser and zoom in a bit just to make it a bit bigger. All right, but it is always a good idea to view it, obviously, at 100%. Now, the next thing to do, like we said before, is to make the actual form. There aren't really decent form elements in Figma. Okay, it's all sort of made up. I mean, if you look at this, these are slices. You know, they're not true. These are just sort of some basic drawing pens and stuff. There may be a new hidden section I've not looked at, but I don't think so. And again, in reality, it probably will be a plugin that works actually, but we're only trying to get this feeling of our form in here. All right, remember this is just a mock-up. This is instead of using Photoshop, Fireworks, Illustrator and stuff like that. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to use the original postcard that we had in our home page as a starting point. So I'm going to go back to Files. I'm going to go to the home page and open it up. And we're going to open up the desktop. And which one is it? It's group 8 there. And so we're going to do Control C to copy it. We are going to go back to Files, into Contact, and then we're going to do Control V to paste it all in. I can't stress this enough how handy that is. You know, on a actual web page, website, you can still do that. We want to change the rotation back to 0. We're going to want to move the whole thing down a bit, okay, just so we get some sense of it. There we go. And also we need to change the content to it. So on this left hand side and on the right hand side we've got text boxes, okay, so we need to get rid of those. So we're inside group 8 here. There are many, oops, that's the wrong one. Here we go. So best wishes, delete that one. Hi, I'm Zan, get rid of that. Welcome, get rid of that. And now we have our basic postcard. The right hand side is where we're going to have the message and the submit button, and they are really just rectangles. Okay, so we go to the rectangle tool and we're going to click and we're going to drag it, and basically we want to try and get it so it looks nice and it looks appropriate. So try and get sort of like the distance here, the sort of padding about the same. Might be nice trying to get all the way around the same. Shrink it maybe a little bit there. There. And there. We're going to leave a little bit more space along the bottom because we've got to do the submit button itself. Okay, so we've got that, and then we're going to first of all give it the stroke. Okay, so we're going to add a stroke. We want it black, and we'll probably make it about 3 thickness. And then we can set the fill here to white. For our submit button, it's going to break the rules again, where it's going to straddle across the 2 sections here, and that's absolutely fine again for this particular instance. So again, rectangle tool, and we're just going to do it like that. And again, we're just going to try and see if we can. There you go, that sort of tells us it's in the center. I want to drop it down just a little bit, so again we get the same or very similar margins around it. You know, this is what you do when you're sort of working it out bit by bit, and then when you've got more time we'll go back in and actually get the sort of pixel perfect positioning. And again we're going to add the stroke, okay, and we seem to be setting it at 3 at the moment, and we're going to set the fill again to white. We could actually have it no fill at all, but it doesn't really matter too much here. And then we're just going to add the word submit into it, which is a text. So in goes our text, and we type in submit, and we can see the text here is stupid size. Okay, it's set at 96 at the moment, so let's get that down to about 18. See, it's text not selected, so it didn't work. So that 18, that's obviously too small, so let's try it at 36. 36 is probably just slightly too big, so let's go for 32, and I say 32 is about right. And again we're just going to move it around a little bit, just try and get it a bit more sort of center off the button itself. So that's the right hand side. The left hand side is quite similar. We're going to have 3 text boxes. Actually they're not text boxes, they're just going to be imitating text boxes. It's just going to be rectangles, and then we're going to have the labels to the left of them. So let's start off with our text boxes, and generally speaking, we want them about, I'd say that looks about right, maybe just a tiny bit smaller. We want to again try and get these distances about the same. So I'm just going to shrink it a little bit and maybe just take off a little bit of the height. Okay, and as before, we're going to add the stroke, make it about 3, change the fill to white, and then to save time, we're going to Control C to copy, and we're going to press V twice to get 2 versions of it. And if we press the Shift button and we can pull it down, so that's the first box. Again, do the same thing, try arrow it down and get the distance between them the same. There you go, 23 pixels. Whether or not that's right, we might have to play with that later on. And then all we're going to do is to add the text to the left. And so we have name, and now the trick here is to actually have the text left aligned. Okay, and we're going to try and get space about right, and I really want it about centered as well, the vertical center to here. And again, we're going to copy and paste twice, bring one copy down to here and the other copy down to here. So this one here is going to be email. I see, because they're left aligned, doesn't matter how many letters there are, they'll always be the same distance from the box. And then this one's going to be slightly different because we're going to use nature of inquiry, or inquiry, however you want to pronounce it. Spelt with an E, not an I, because we are British, we are not American. Now, we'll see here that obviously this text is really too large in order for it to fit nicely in there. So we're going to perhaps shrink this down to maybe 24, whoops, not 243, let's try 24. And that sort of centered itself almost vertically quite nicely. I'm just going to shift it there so it's a bit better. But it does mean we want to change these as well to 24 because we need consistency. And that might mean it does look a bit small, and again, I'm only doing this very quickly. I appreciate my videos tend to be quite long, so I'm trying to do this as fast as possible for you guys. And that looks about right, and that actually looks quite nice. Now, this inquiry one isn't actually going to be a standard text box like these two are, or this message box. It's actually going to be a drop-down menu. And so we've got to give it the appearance of that. So the first thing we're going to do is put some text in here already. And we're just going to put in the word general, as in a general inquiry. We are going to center that text, and we're just going to move it so the text box is about centered. And then we're going to go into here, into the polygon, and we're going to draw a little triangle. I want my triangle pointing down, doesn't want me to do that, but I'll just use the Shift button and then rotate it. And I want that to fit in here. I want to give it a fill of black. And there we have it. I would say it's perhaps just a little bit too big, so let's just use the Shift button in the corner. Shrink it down a little, oops, shrink it down just a little bit. That might be a tad. And then just move it. And there we go. And that gives us the appearance of the drop-down menu. Now, when we actually build this in real life, we could have it looking like a normal form, or we can actually change it so it does look like this. We will make that decision later on. So one of the things I do want to do is just move these down a little bit. Okay, now the problem is that trying to click and highlight them all, I'm going to hit the actual postcard itself. So I'm going to click on the postcard, and I'm going to lock it, And now, there we go, I can click on the others. I can now use the down arrow to get them just a little bit more in the middle. Okay, and now I've done that, what I really want to do is to sort of move them all into this as well, and that should include this here, this rectangle, and the submit button and that rectangle as well. So shift click those and drop them in, so now they are now all part of this. If I select that as a group, I should be able to move them all together if I need to. There we go. So the only other thing now is to add our social links. Okay, and for that we do need images, and the website we normally go to, which is Unsplash, isn't the best one for it. They don't really do icons, and again, it's important to try and find websites that do give them to you free. Okay, royalty free, which is the term you really want, but you also really don't want to find a website where you have to pay for them. There are some really great icons out there which you do pay for, but I prefer not to, because, well, I don't get paid enough. So the website that I use, or I'm using for this particular one, is called Icon Finder, and again the link for this will be in the description below. Okay, so this is it's iconfinder.com, and this is the actual set that I'm using. And so for our website, I'm going to be using the Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, WhatsApp, YouTube, and LinkedIn. So it's these 6 that I'm doing, and all you need to do is to click on it and to download. Again, it's always important to actually check about the requirements on this. And if we go down here, we can see the license is free for commercial use. And as you can see here, oops, I can't jump down and show you it as well, but it does say that it's nice to attribute the author, but not required. Okay, so thank you, Anton D. This is his link here. Like I said, it's in the description below, so you can actually use them as well. So we jump back into here, and first of all, we'll just see what our contact page looks like so far, and that's okay. Whoops, we can see that our we didn't move our triangle with everything else. Let's put you back in there, Polygon. There we go. So really nice and simple. What we're going to do now is just insert the images. So we go, oops, wrong one. Go to place image, and I'm going to start off the Twitter one, and I want it roughly the same place here, and I like the 60 pixel feels about right for me. And all I'm going to do for the moment is just add the images one by one in the order that I want them. So remember, by using the shift button, you keep the aspect ratio, and I want to try and keep them all at 60 pixels. This one is Facebook. Also, before I forget, there has been a slight update in Figma, and placing images now causes a lot of problems if you're using Firefox. So I do recommend you use Chrome when you're using Figma. What's up? And finally YouTube. Okay, so then what I try and do is that it's a nice idea to have them more or less centered, but I'm going to start to align these roughly where I want them. And I always work with the top and bottom ones. Try and get them more or less center on first, and then I can just sort of move these around so they're about right. And I say about right because we're going to use a trick here. So again, we're going to use the shift button. It's easier to do it over here. So top one, shift to the bottom. And then the first thing we're going to do is to align them all the same. Okay, so they're now vertically nicely aligned. But also, if we click on this little drop down, we can distribute the vertical spacing. So that means they're all spread out evenly. So now they're all nicely spread out. And now I've got them all selected, I can also sort of move them up and down as well to get them exactly where I want them to be. And I like them just about center there. That looks quite nice. Now, there is one more thing you could do. You could add, for example, the link or your ID to the right of these, in which case you would want to move these over a little bit more to the left so that you've got some nice space here for the text as well. But otherwise, that is actually our contact page done already. I don't believe there's anything more that we really need to do to it. So, a nice simple contact me page, which we'll then obviously build a bit later on. That's the end of this video. As always, I hope it's been useful. Please like, subscribe, comment, let me know how you feel, what videos you'd like me to make, how to make them better. And I'll see you next time when we will be building the education page. We're going to miss out the Devon page. We're going to go straight to education page. And see you guys in the next video. This is Sam, signing out.